In this lecture, I'm going to show you how to configure an EtherChannel. So Cisco has two types of EtherChannels. They're either a layer 2 EtherChannel or a layer 3 EtherChannel. The difference is with layer 2, it's all a layer 2 topology. There's no IP routed ports. With layer 3 port channels, it's based on an IP routed port. So for this example, I'm going to start with an EtherChannel that's layer 2, and it's going to use LACP. PAGP is no longer included on the new CCNA 200-301 exam. It's just LACP. LACP is an open standard, and it supports redundancy as well. And what it does is it is actually the protocol used with EtherChannel to create a logical interface that binds multiple switch interfaces into a single logical bundle. And that's done for higher bandwidth and redundancy, or load balancing, failover, things like that. So in this example, I've got two hosts. They're each in different VLANs. Host 1 is in VLAN 10 and host 2 is in VLAN 11. And server 1 and server 2 are in different VLANs as well. And it's layer 2, there's no routing, so only VLAN 10, anything in VLAN 10 can communicate. Host 1, for example, can only communicate with server 1 and host 2 with server 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up an EtherChannel and then verify that it works by sending a ping from host 1 to server 1 and host 2 to server 2. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with switch 1. I'm going to go to the command line interface. I'll type enable. Then I'm going to sign on and then configure terminal. And what I'm going to do to start with is I have to configure on switch 1 fast Ethernet 2.1 and 3.1. They're going to be the switch ports that are going to be part of an EtherChannel. So I'm going to start with 2.1. So I'm going to go interface FA2.1. Now I'm in interface mode. And the first thing I'm going to do is create a trunk of that port. Put it in trunk mode. And the reason I'm doing that is because there's more than one VLAN. I'm going to want a trunk. Anytime you have more than one VLAN, you want to forward between switches, you need a trunk. In this case, there's VLAN 10 and 11, so I'm going to need a trunk. And then I'm going to turn off, I'm going to use switch port no negotiate. And that turns off DTP frames. DTP is an auto negotiation of trunking. I don't want to send DTP frames because this is going to be just a static trunk. So Cisco recommends for security purposes to just turn off DTP frames. The next thing I want to do is I want to tell it what VLANs are allowed. So switch port trunk allowed VLAN 10 and 11. And the last thing I want to do, and this is important, this is the channel group command, and this is what LACP uses, or this is what the switch uses to set up LACP negotiation between the switches. So it's channel group 1. 1 is just an arbitrary number. I'm just going to use channel group 1. Then I'm going to say mode active. In active mode, what it does is it tells switch 1 to send frames over to switch 2 to set up an EtherChannel. And there's either active or passive. So one of the switches has to be set for active. And then I'll do a no shut. And what I'll do is I'm going to do the same commands on 3.1. So I can use up arrow now because Cisco CLI permits that. It's just easier than retyping everything. I'll change that to 3.1 because now I'm doing 3.1 interface. Then I'll go up and select switch port mode trunk and switch port no negotiate. Then I'm going to select the VLANs that I want to allow, and that's just 10 and 11. And then the channel group, it's the same. Everything has to match on EtherChannel. All the ports have to be configured the same on both switches. Then I'll do a no shut. Then I'll go up one level, and now I want to create the port channel. So that's port channel and 1, because port channel 1 is going to use the same number as the channel group. And by doing that, the port channel can that binds the ether channel to the port channel. So the interface of the bundle is that's it. Using that number to match, that will bind the port channel to the ether channel, and so that'll create that single logical interface. And then just do a switch port mode trunk and switch port no negotiate. And then a no shut. That enables the interface. So at that point I'm going to go back here to the top level. I'm going to save the configuration to the startup configuration. So next time the device starts, it'll have the updated configuration. Copy run to start. Yes. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to switch 2 and do the same thing. So we'll go to the CLI. I'll sign on. Then configure terminal. And as with switch 1, I'll start with the fast Ethernet 2.1 interface. So I can type interface or INT. There's 2.1. And I'll make it a trunk. And no negotiate. Then I'll tell it to allow VLAN 1011 from those two servers. That's either 10,11 or 10-11. Both work. And lastly, I want to do the channel group. And it has to match as well. Channel group 1. And then mode active. So we'll just set it to active as well. And then next thing I want to do is just do a no shut. Okay, and then I'll go back up and do 3.1 and do the same thing. Just gonna cycle through here, make it a trunk, turn off negotiation of DTP frames, tell it to allow only 10 and 11. If I don't do that, it'll forward all VLANs. So that's a security issue. And then the channel group, same thing. Then I'll do a no shut to enable the interface. Then I'll go up one level and create my port channel. So port channel 1. So I'll make it a trunk. And no negotiate. I'll do a no shut as well. So that's the port channel there. That's all configured. Now what I'll do is I'll go back up to the top and just do save the configuration. Copy run to start. Show run because I want to take a look at the configuration. So there's the port channel, and there is the interface 2 and 3.1. So they're part of the ether channel now. I'm going to go over to switch 1 and just do a show run. So there's the port channel there, and everything seems fine there. So at this point, what I want to do is just make sure that the ether channel is operational. So what I'm going to do go, I'll run an operational command this time. Show EtherChannel summary. Okay, so at this point I've got group 1, so that's the channel group. There's the port channel 1. The codes are S and U, so S is layer 2, U is in use, so that's good. LACP is active, and ports are 2.1 and 3.1. So that everything seems fine there. I'll go to switch 2 and do the same thing. I can abbreviate. I can go ether summary, for example. And it's got the same thing, so it's fine as well. So now I'm going to send ping from host 1 to server 1. So ping 192.168.1.2. So I'm going to just select desktop, command prompt, ping 192.168.1.2, and get replies immediately, all 4 replies. So host 1 can connect to server 1. Now host 2, I'm going to ping from host 2 to server 2. Server 2 address is 2.2. So I'm going to go ping 192.168.2.2. And there it is. So it's working fine. If I try to ping host 1 or server 1, so what I'm doing now, I'm trying to ping from this VLAN 11 over to VLAN 10 from host 2 to server 1. So it's not going to work. And there it is. See, I'm getting timeouts. Okay, so that concludes the lecture on Layer 2 Ether Channel.